So these are the video notes that go with the 1.10 Ready, Set, Go. Okay. If you are having trouble with your assignment, then this video is going to help teach you some of the skills you need for it. Okay. For example, I'm going to take a look at these sequences here, and I have to find the first 5 terms. That means f of 1, f of 2, f of 3, 4, and 5. Let's find the first 5 terms. Okay, they're telling me it's an arithmetic sequence. Arithmetic means you're going to add or subtract the same pattern. The common difference is 3. So let's take a look here. F of 1 is 2. That tells me the starting number is 2, and that is very important because I can't add 3 unless I have a starting number. Okay, so how do I get the second term? I'm going to take 2, the last output, and I'm going to add 3. So 2 plus 3 makes 5. How do you find number 3? You take the previous answer, 5, and we're going to add our common difference of 3 and get 8. 8 plus 3 more makes 11. 11 plus 3 is 14. The common difference here was 3. Okay, common differences can be positive numbers that you add or negative numbers then, and they would go down. Okay, a geometric sequence means that we're usually going to be multiplying. Okay, the common ratio is 3. That means each term gets multiplied by 3. Okay, but it's important to know the first term, g of 1, the first term is 2. And how do I get to the next term? We're going to multiply by 3 to get 6, times by 3 to get 18. Okay, it has to be the same consistent number that you multiply by. Times by 3, 54. Times by 3, 162. If the numbers were getting smaller, we wouldn't say divide, divide, divide. We would say multiply by 1/3. Okay, let's take a look at a table where there's some terms in the middle that are missing. Okay, so here's a strategy for finding missing terms. So they're telling me this is geometric. And the first term is 3. I don't know the second term or the third term, but the fourth term, wow, is 24. So does it look like the numbers are getting bigger or smaller? Okay, since the numbers are getting bigger, I know that we're going to be multiply, okay, by a common ratio r. But I don't know what the ratio is. And I have some terms missing. So I know that this is a 3. And what I would do to get to this next term is multiply by r. And then here I would multiply by r. And then I would again multiply by r. And I know that that's 24. Okay. So what some people do is they guess and check. But we need to have an official strategy that we can explain with our words. So let's go back to this one right here. I know that this term is 3. And that I would have to multiply by r to get to the second one. Then I would multiply by r to get to the third one. And I would multiply by r, and then that would take me to 24. 3 times r times r times r. There are 3 common ratios here. And so right here, I don't know what the r is, but I know 3 times something makes 24. And right here, this has to equal an 8. 3 times 8 is 24. So what we have to figure out is r times the same r times the same r makes an 8. What number does r equal? And this is where people guess and check with their calculator. Does 1 times 1 times 1 make 8? No. How about if r was a 2? 2 times 2 times 2? That works. Okay, sometimes if it's too small, people go bigger. If it's too big, they go smaller. But r does indeed equal 2. Let's check this. Let's check. 3 times 2. That would make a 6. 6 times 2 would make 12. Does 12 times 2 make 24? Yes, we found it. This is the common ratio, and those are the missing terms. Okay, so what was the strategy used here? Okay, so the strategy. So the first thing that we did was determine. Determine means find. Determine how many common ratios are needed to get from the first term that I know to the next term that I know. How many common ratios are needed between the terms? Okay, and we figured out that we would need 3 common ratios. And then, okay, step 2, since I knew that I would need to multiply by a total of 8, I guessed and checked the number that made that distance right there. So I guess we could say guess and check which number works for r times r times r equals 8. Okay. And then don't forget to try them by plugging in that common ratio there to see if it actually fills in your table correctly. Okay, that's also part of the checking. Okay, let's take a look down here. They're telling us some information, and they want us to write the explicit equation, and this is a geometric sequence. Okay, so they're telling me some information. Right here, f of 1, this is the first term. The first term is 6. So what some people like to do is see the table. If you don't need to see the table, that's okay. So the first term is 6. The second term, the third term. Now they told me this was geometric, and the common ratio is r. So there's a consistent ratio between the terms. So if the first term is 6, I'm going to multiply by 3, and that would be 6 times 3. And then to get to the third term, it would be 6 times 3 times 3. To get to the fourth term, it would be 6 times 3 times 3 times 3. I think I'm noticing the pattern. Okay, explicit is an equation that can help you find any term. So we're going to notice the pattern here. F of n equals. All of these terms have a starting number of 6. So that explicit equation would need a 6. And all of the terms are getting multiplied by 3. So I'm going to say times by 3. That's our common ratio. And let's see, the second term only had 3 to the first power. The third term has 3 to the second power. When you multiply, you could write it with an exponent. The fourth term had 6 times 3 to the third power. So the question is way down here at n, it would need 6 times 3 to what power? 4 doesn't have 4, it has 1 less. It only has 3. The third term only has 2 as its power. So the nth term would have n minus 1 as its power. 1 less. Okay, number 2 is giving us, oh, this is a recursive equation. The reason I know this is recursive is right here, f of n minus 1. That's how you say previous, the last term. So this formula says take the previous term, multiply it by 4. 4 times the previous. Okay, so once again, you can make a table for this. If we looked a little table right here, pattern is multiply by 4, but I need to know how they start. 1, 2, 3. The first term is 2, but that's the only term they told me. F of 1, the first term is 2. And then this story right here is saying you do 4 times the previous. So if this output was 2, let's go ahead and multiply by 4. To get to the third one, I would have to take 2 times 4 and multiply by another 4. Okay, do you see the pattern? If you see it, then we can go ahead and get started. F of n equals, you start with the 2, that's your first term, your starting term, and we have to multiply by 4. I know that it's 4 times 4, it's times 4 times 4 times 4, so we're going to use this r value here, and we're going to write it as a power, as an exponent. The second term only got 1. The third term only needed 2. It's not equal. It seems like the term number needs 1 less. So this is going to be the power of n minus 1. Okay, I hope this helps you with your Ready, Set, Go. Good luck!